What's up guys, ownedbytamater here. Welcome back to my Friday topic of my choice, where basically I just talk about some random topic that, whatever, just a commentary basically. And this week I had a topic all lined up. I had a gameplay for it. I was set to go. I was good to go. I had no worries about getting this commentary done. Well, the game I had planned on showing you guys was one where I was using the assault juggernaut kill streak, and I was just doing work with it. I was massacring kids with my light machine gun juggernaut. And whenever I was actually playing that game live, I didn't get it capped on my computer because I was talking on the phone at the time, and I guess I figured that I'm talking on the phone, I'm not really paying attention, I'm not gonna do so well. Well, it turns out that right after the game started, Ronnie told me that he had another call. He switched over, so I just threw him on speaker mode, threw down my phone next to me, put on one speaker or one side of my headset, and just started really doing work. And I got up to the assault juggernaut, and I just completely cleaned up with it. It was a game that went like, I don't know, I got like 57 in 3 or 4 or something like that. Something really good. And since I didn't cap it live, right after I got the gameplay, I was like, okay, that's gonna be my topic. And I went to my theater mode. I moved it from the live theater mode list to, my saved online playlist, whatever. And I thought nothing of it. And just recently, when I went back to record it, apparently there's some kind of glitch with the theater where all of your saved videos won't play, or at least on mine it says out of memory 7 on all of them, and so I have no way of reaching that game. And so it kind of threw me for a loop on what my topic was going to be. So I thought for a little bit, and if you've watched my videos for a while, you know that on the old Black Ops ones, or the later Modern Warfare 2 or the Black Ops videos, they weren't so much gun analysis or gameplay related. They were more me telling a random story to a gameplay. And just something that I thought was kind of funny that happened to me that I thought was worth telling the world. And so I thought, and I remembered that there was a story that I had wanted to tell you guys for a while that I never really got a chance to, since I kind of swayed away from that type of commentary for a while, and I just never got around to actually making that commentary. And so I figured, what a perfect opportunity to get this done. And I'll start off saying I was in the city, in Oklahoma City, and I'm not used to all the roads and all the, different paths that you can't turn around on. If you make a mistake, you have to go quite a ways to be able to fix it. And I can navigate a little bit to the areas that I've been to before, but some of the areas where I have never really been to at all, they kind of throw me for a loop, and I can get lost really easily. So I don't remember what I was doing. I was with Ari, and we had went to do something in the city. In Oklahoma City. I don't really remember what it was, but we did something, and it was somewhere where I hadn't really ever been or driven to before, and so I wasn't 100% sure on how to get back to the house. And so I typed it in my iPhone. I typed the home address in my iPhone so that I could get there the easiest possible way, and I didn't have to worry about getting lost. Well, in my car, I had recently cleaned out all my change and put it all somewhere. I don't remember why I cleaned it out, because I was switching cars. I got a new car, and I hadn't put my change back in it. Well, I had some paper money but no change money, and Ari didn't have any in her purse, and I thought I had opted out of taking the toll roads on my iPhone, but apparently I did not. And before I knew it, I was driving up to a toll and I had no way of getting out of it. I had no way to turn around or exit or anything. So I pulled up, and I was thinking either I have to run it or I have to find a way to get some change somehow. And then I remembered when I was little, and I really wanted to try and throw the money into that little plastic bin where it spins around and then falls down. I really wanted to try that out, and so whenever we were going through, I asked my parents if I could, and they gave me the money, and I missed. I missed the huge plastic bin. And so I opened the door, and I went out, and I got the quarter, and I found like 3 other quarters just laying there that somebody had thrown, missed, and just was too lazy to get out of the car and put in another one. So I thought, you know, if I found 3 quarters then, maybe I'll find some change now. And so I put the car in park, I unbuckled, I opened the door, and the toll costed 35 cents. And I looked around, and right away I found a quarter. And so I only need another dime. Well, I look around a little bit more, and I do actually find that dime. And so, you know, all's good. I go on, and I'm thinking I'm gonna take the nearest exit, so I don't have to worry about any more tolls. I'll just find a longer route home. Well, I guess on all the exits you take, you're gonna have to pay an exit toll. So I took an exit, and before I knew it, I was pulling up to another one. There was no way I could avoid this one. I drove up to it, and you know, I thought, you know what, maybe since it worked last time, maybe I'll be able to do the exact same thing again this time. And I put my car in park, I opened the door, and I looked around, and there was no change to be found anywhere at all. So I got back in my car, I looked for change everywhere just in case I missed some. And then I had Ari double check her purse, and she couldn't find any. And I was like, oh crap, I guess I'm just probably gonna have to run this. And then a car pulls up behind me, and they pull up, you know, right behind me, and there's a pretty long ramp that, you know, lets you off the highway so you're not in the way of anybody. And even if there's a line at the toll, you know, it shouldn't be backed up that far. Well, they pulled up right behind me, and I got out, and I started walking towards them, because I was going to ask them if I could trade them a couple dollars for, you know, 35 cents and change. And as soon as I did, I got out, and I was walking that way, and they were pretty close. So I was walking that way, I put my hand in my pocket, and I was going to pull out my wallet. And right then, I've never seen someone back up this fast, but they backed up, and they acted like they were going to back right back up onto the highway where cars were going like 70 miles an hour. They acted like they were going to back straight up on the highway and just turn around and just go. Because obviously I was reaching my pocket, I was going to pull out a gun or something. I mean, I don't I don't look like a mean guy. I don't know. I was kind of embarrassed, and I turned around back to the car, and I kind of shrugged. I was like, I don't really, if they're not going to let me approach them, I don't know what to do. And that car backed up to the very end of the ramp, so any other cars, they'd have to, you know, stop on the highway. And so I waited about probably a minute or so, just trying to brainstorm for, you know, some idea of how I can get out of this. And about then, another car pulls up behind the car that floored it back, like they were going to act like they were going onto the highway away from me. They pulled up behind them, so that other car that backed away from me had to pull up just a little bit to let them in, so the other car wasn't on the highway. And so I decided, you know what, this time I'm going to pull out $1. I'm going to hold it in my hand so they don't, you know, fear that I'm pulling out a gun. And I'm going to walk and see if this second car will do me a favor. And so I slowly, I mean, it was a long walk. It took me I mean, just a casual walk speed probably took 10 seconds to get there. It's quite a ramp to just be walking on. And so I walked there. I was holding up the $1, you know, advertising it for everybody, making sure everyone knew it was $1. It wasn't a gun, it wasn't a knife, it was $1. And whenever I get close enough to be able to see into that car that backed away from his window, it's two ladies. They're not old, but you know, they're not young. They're mid-age. I don't know. They're, you know, they're adults, but they're not old ladies, and I can see them shaking their hands as fast as they can, shaking their heads back and forth, saying no, 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 no. And I don't know why they were so afraid I was gonna kill them. Maybe they were, you know, foreigners. I don't know. I've never seen anybody that scared. And I'm sure if that car hadn't been right behind them, they would have put their car into reverse and floored right back out onto the highway as I was approaching them. But they were shaking their head as hard as they could, telling me no. And so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna point behind them and just walk around. So I pointed to the car behind them. I made sure to make a huge, you know, arch around their car, so I didn't get too close, so that they didn't pull out any, you know, any weapons they might be able to find or whatever. I didn't scare them too bad. I made sure to walk way around it. And I walked up to this other car, and he had his window down already. He was, you know, just listening to music. He was ready to throw his change in. And I was like, listen, man, I don't have any change. I have a couple of dollars, but do you have any extra change that I could use to get through this toll? And he was like, you know, yeah, sure, man. Just, I mean, he didn't even take my dollar. He just gave me 35 cents. And was like, no problem. And so I slowly walked back past the car, and it was a long, embarrassing trek back to the vehicle after that. And so I put in the change, and I just went on. And I have never seen anybody that scared of me. I don't look that intimidating. I'm pretty small. I'm not like a big muscular dude. I'm really small. There's nothing, you know, frightening about me. I'm not, I don't know. I don't know how frightening people look, but I don't think I look frightening. They were deathly afraid of me, and I have no earthly idea why. I hope you might have got a laugh out of that. I don't know if I told it as funny as when it happened. It was really embarrassing when it happened, actually, having to, you know, take a walk of shame past all these cars to try and find someone to give me change. But anyways, guys, I hope it was I hope I portrayed that as kind of funny, at least. Anyways, guys, this has been Owned by Tomater. This has been my Friday topic of choice. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Later, guys.